Hello and welcome once again to Let's Start Cooking. I'm Wayne, and with Easter coming up, whether you celebrate the holidays or you don't, spring is coming, it's getting warm. There's nothing better than a nice light dessert. And what we're going to make today is actually going to be a very quick and easy recipe. It has 6 ingredients. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make what some people call an Easter calzone. Some people just call it an Easter custard. Other people call it an Easter pie. But it's a very simple recipe, and all we're going to do is we're going to start with 6 large eggs that we've cracked into a bowl. And before we go on with any of the other ingredients, I would like to take this time to ask that you'd watch the video, give us a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, share with your friends, and let us know how we're doing. With that being said, let's continue on with the recipe. So what we have is we have 6 large eggs, and all we're going to do is we're going to add all this together in one bowl. We're going to take 6 tablespoons of regular water. Doesn't have to be room temperature. We're going to take a half a cup of regular sugar. We're going to take the zest from 1 lemon. And like I said, this is a nice light dessert that you can make pretty quickly. And we're going to take 2 1/4 cups of ricotta cheese. Now, this recipe does call for, if you want to make the adult version, this is the time that you would want to put in a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of Sambuca. You can also use, instead of Sambuca, you can use a licorice extract if you want to put that in. And that way you can serve it to everybody. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this now, and we're just going to carefully mix this up. And we're going to get this all mixed, and this is the time you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And this takes a little bit of time because the ricotta cheese is a little thick, but it will mix, and once you get this all mixed up, we want to make sure that everything is smooth. So we'll get this mixed up, and then we'll get our pie dish ready. Once you get this nice and mixed up and there's no lumps, you got it nice and smooth, all we're going to do is we're going to take a 9-inch pie pan, and we'll just take parchment paper because this is not going to have an actual crust on it. And we're just going to lay that right in and just make sure that when you actually press that you're not going to have any edges down below the pan. Because all we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're just going to dump it right in over that parchment paper. And the weight of it is going to put that down. And we're just going to make sure as we go slow. Because as we get to the top, we want to make sure that we take this and we push down on our paper. Like I said, a lot of it, the weight's going to take it right down. Now when you bake this in the oven, you're going to want to make sure that you put a cookie sheet underneath this. And we'll try to get all this in. Now if you don't, it's no big deal. I mean, obviously you don't want it overrunning. We want to go as high as we can. We're just going to make sure our paper, like I said, we're just going to make sure that we're right to the top as best we can. And that's all we're going to do with this. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 1 hour. You're going to see the top get nice and brown, and that's what we're looking for. It's still going to be a little jiggly in the center because it's basically a custard. But we're going to bake this now for an hour. So we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. We've had this in the oven for a little over an hour. And we've taken it out, we've let this cool completely down because if it's still warm, it's going to want to fall apart on you. And if you remember, we had parchment paper in our pie dish. Once you let this cool off, you take a spatula, get underneath the parchment paper, lift it up a little bit, and you can actually pull the parchment paper out from underneath. But you got to make sure it's completely cool. If you're just serving this at your house and it doesn't matter, you can leave the parchment paper right where it's at. You don't have to try pulling it out. So all we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of powdered sugar. And we're just going to lightly dust this now. And again, you can put as much as you want on. You don't have to put any on. You can even, if you wanted to, you could even take chocolate and shred chocolate on this if you wanted to. Even though we used ricotta cheese, it's still a dairy product with the egg, so it's still technically a custard. But people like to call it Easter calzone, Easter pie. So that's all we're going to do. And all we have to do now is we're just gonna slice it. And you'd be surprised, it's actually a heavy pie because, again, it's basically a custard, and custard's gonna be heavy, just like a cheesecake. Move this out of the way. And as you can see, it's solid through. Even though it's a dense cake, it's still really light. And you can smell. Again, now I didn't use Sambuca because this is going to be served to kids and family. But you can use the extract of licorice. It's the same thing in Sambuca. First hit you get is a slight taste of lemon because of the lemon zest that we use. Again, it's a good springtime dessert. It doesn't sit heavy. It's not overly sweet. And it took maybe 20 minutes, not counting, you know, the baking time. So it's something that you would enjoy making. I'm sure your friends would enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll like and share with your friends. And I hope you'll subscribe to our channel. And I will see you on Sunday.